Becoming an NFT millionaire. The key to making millions through investing is buying low and selling high. Now think about this with me. Why is it when prices get low, people go running for the hills? And why is it that when prices get high, people come out of the woodwork and mortgage their home in order to buy at record high prices? Now, if we look back at any price chart and think about it logically and not emotionally, would we rather buy at lows or at highs? Though we do understand why people FOMO into highs and dump at lows, and it is tempting to operate the exact same way. My guess is that if you were here when the market is more slow, you have already taken the first steps towards millions through crypto and possibly crypto collectibles and NFTs by being here when the price action is boring so that you can accumulate and then sell when the price action is super hot. So let's look at some NFT projects that as an investor, I am very interested in, that I think have incredibly high chances to do well in the coming years. That's what we're going to look at today. Welcome to the Crypto Rain channel. I'm your host, Jay Rain. And if you like money in crypto and you're looking for a real investor take on the crypto market, join the Rainmaker family. You can do that as simply as liking this video and subscribing with the all notification bell enabled. If you want to go the next step, follow me on Twitter at Crypto Rain with 2 N's, as well as we have a link to our Telegram channel below. Do note, I am not a financial advisor. I am a crypto investor myself, and I do own or plan to own most of what I talk about on this channel because I don't talk about crypto projects that I don't believe in. Special thanks to our Patreon members. We do have a private Discord there. Patreon members get access to. Now make it rain on that like button. Strap in for the show. Let's welcome our producer, D Money.
Yo, Jay, what's going on?
You know, it's fun talking about collectibles. I have an inner nerd in me that is like collectibles since I was a kid. And to this day loves them.
No, me too, for sure. I was one of those kids in high school that was playing the Pokemon trading card game, and like, you know, you got some looks back then. I wish I had a lot of those cards today, and I just don't anymore.
Isn't it work out that the nerds in high school are the rich later on? Like, really, how many people are rich because of Pokemon cards? And yet they were the nerds in high school for not necessarily really the nerds. I mean, some of them were very cool kids, but some were looked down on by others as, oh, you're a nerd because you go into that stuff. Well, that's okay. I mean, Bill Gates was quite the nerd, and he's one of the richest men today. Elon Musk, I don't know. I mean, I think he was raised mostly in South Africa, and then he came to the States fairly young. But yeah, probably considered a nerd. Well, so I happily embrace that. I've always had a big inner nerd. And the biggest nerd part about me is I like things that go up in value over time. And that's always had my attention. So we're going to talk about some collectibles today that I think have strong chances to go up in value, especially as this NFT craze has cooled down a little bit. But in the future, I see masses and huge numbers of people coming into it, and that the price action will get very crazy once again.
Cool. Yeah, I'm excited. Let's do it.
All right. Now, as you know, the price action of the whole crypto market is very down and what I would call very boring, which is what makes it so interesting to me and helps me focus like a laser beam when everything is on a massive sale. And later this week or early next week, we'll dive into some potentially undervalued gems in the altcoins. But today, we're going to specifically focus on crypto collectibles and NFTs, and ones that I think will make people millionaires in the coming years, in my personal opinion. Now, this isn't financial advice to you. This is a look at what I'm buying, because I expect them to do very well for my own purchases. Now, you probably already realize that in a decade or two, many NFTs that are released or will be released in the coming years will go to zero if they lack long-term desirability. So question, really, will anyone care about a Paris Hilton NFT in 20 years? D, what would you say on that?
Yeah, I don't think it's, yeah, I'm guessing it's probably not going to be anything to think about. Yeah. Will anybody know who Paris Hilton is in 20 years? I can't believe people are still talking about her today.
They're not very much, right? But she released some NFTs and people are like, oh, Paris Hilton, a celebrity, released some NFTs. And probably Paris Hilton is the only one that will make massive money from those NFTs.
Sure, yeah.
Because what is the long-term desirability of those? So they could do well. They're just not likely to. Therefore, those that are investing in those have a much higher risk of it going to zero than what I feel we're going to look at. Now, when I think about collectibles, there are two major factors that drive high price increases over time, and that's demand versus supply and the ability to purchase. For demand, we want to look at things that are special and occupy a special place where their demand stands a strong chance of increasing over time. Yet they have a fixed supply that is released according to perhaps today's demand. Now, think about the first year of Pokemon cards. Why have they done so incredibly well? Well, over time, more and more people wanted them, especially the first year of them. Yet that first year had a very fixed supply. Also, think about where the demand is coming from and the ability to pay, or the ability of those with that demand to pay higher prices. Say you release a collectible that is incredibly desirable in the Democratic Republic of Congo, where the median income is under $1,000 a year. Will it possibly see as high of increases as something that perhaps became highly popular amongst young professionals in Silicon Valley, where the annual income is closer to $300,000 per year? I would bet on the Silicon Valley ones, right? Because the ability for those people to pay higher prices is much, much greater. Now, about 15 years ago, I had a friend who collected toys, and he told me about toy collecting. He said it was critical to think about the demographics of who might be interested in buying them later, as well as the supply versus how cool they were. How cool they were was one of the biggest determining factors. And that's how he described it, how cool they are. And I like to think about it that way too, because isn't that what we're often looking at? Now, that was an effective summary of what really seemed to make the difference. With that in mind, can we agree that DC Comics and Marvel have captivated our interest since we were first introduced to them? Not just our interest, but also the interest of people around the world in many, many countries. For many around the globe, professional sports is also their passion. So we'll take a look at some of the very best projects in NFTs in the sports area, or one that's particular on my mind. We're also going to look at some in the Marvel and DC universes. And then I'm going to take a look at something else I've been putting some money into. So let's start off with a fairly new project called HRO. And here we're looking at my app, just taking a look at the marketplace and what's available here. Now, they did a pre-sale of their hybrid physical card NFTs just a few months ago, and some of those packs have now been shipped. You can also possibly find the packs in some Walmarts and other shopping centers, though I understand they're very hard to find. They weren't directly available in Canada, but for those who are very creative, there is always a way. I believe they did ship to the UK and the US primarily. Now, right now, there is just one season of the hybrid cards released. And the hybrid cards, you buy the physical packs, but the back has a QR code that you have to scan inside the Hero app. And if it's the first time being scanned, it will bring it right into your collection and give you the NFT version. Now, the prices on these for this NFT version are down right now. And I actually expect that it will go down further. Let me show you why. So here we're looking at some of these cards. Now these we can sort, thank goodness, by like common. So we're going to sort by common. You see, even these commons, possibly there's a floor on what you can list for as $1, because you see a lot of these things, look, nothing's below $1. So I think there's a floor of $1. And if you scroll down on the commons, some of them go for higher prices, especially this one here. Now, I want you to notice something, this in circulation number. So in circulation is 9,785 of these versus a total of 51,546. So in other words, about 9,700 or 9,800 of them have been scanned in. So here's why I think it's going to go down before it goes up. As more of these get scanned in, and maybe 100% of them never do get scanned in, because if some get lost or destroyed, or some little 8-year-old buys them and they don't know about the app and they just think they're cool and they play with them and then they get thrown in the garbage, they never get scanned in, right? So probably we'll never get a full circulation, but it's fair to say we'll get a lot higher circulation than what's here. And as that happens, more people tend to put on the market and dump. Now, there is a chance that it goes up before it goes down, but what would it take for that? It would take massive numbers of people coming in and for demand to outstrip supply. So my guess, and it's just my guess only, that supply outstrips demand in the short term. Now, in the long term, I think these are really, really cool. So if you look at the commons, there's a supply of about 51,000 per common. We're going to look over at some other things, these mythics. Now, I did buy several $1,000s worth of these cards and had them shipped. And I've opened about half of them, have not got a single mythic, which is really disappointing. Now, the chances on these are about 0.05 a piece, right? So about 1 in 2,000 cards is going to be one of these. I've opened actually about 2,000 cards, haven't gotten one yet, but that's just how luck sometimes falls. But see how cool these are now. There's only 1,000 of each of these. That's really cool. So there's a physical and a digital. And what's interesting, if you scan it in, you can sell the digital and you still have the physical. Now, you can't re-redeem the physical by scanning it in. The other person can choose to release it to you, the digital, if you have the physical, but they're separated, right? So there will always be those physical cards as well as a digital NFT version of them. It'll be really interesting to see in the coming decades what does really well. Now, why do I think these will do really well? Well, these are the first hybrid collectibles ever released. And it happens to be a major brand like DC Comics. Now, I think that makes these sufficiently unique that when the masses finally catch on to digital collectibles and NFTs, the demand for these will likely far outstrip the supply, in my opinion. And season 1 is almost always the most valuable season. So take a look at Hero and Follow. I'm watching the prices. I have a ton of these. I have a full collection already. I'm looking to buy more when I feel like the prices really bottom out. And I'm going to be looking for mythics, legendaries, the cool epics, the ones that are doing well. I mean, this Batman is so cool. And I do love this app because it does show how the price is done. Now, keep in mind that some of these sales that sold for $85, that was probably a higher mint. But you can look at recent sales. Yep, A730. So the mint number does make a difference. And when you scan it in, it gives you that mint number. So really cool what they're doing here. Let's take a look over at the VV app. Now, you probably follow my coverage on VV for a long time. VV has done an incredible job getting some of the best brands to release collectibles on their platform. Jumping over to this, here I'm on their desktop app, and this is VV Collectibles app, and you can see that they've got collectibles. Now, they just released this Thor, and this just came out the other day. They did a good job getting most of the bots off the platform, so you can actually get drops once again. They have comics, which is really cool. These are your first NFT comics, and they're incredible. You can actually read through them. They have some of the top comics out there. They've really done an incredible job. And here I am on the desktop app. Now, I did get my invite just barely over the weekend. They've been slow rolling it out to people, and I was just lucky enough to get an invite to participate in the beta, which is great because it makes it easier for me to show you this. Now, VV is an app on your phone primarily that you can easily download just about anywhere in the world and start collecting. Now, I've been following in on this channel. I've been following in this since March of 2021, and I know that many of my audience checked out the Todd McFarlane Batman that I did a video back on March a year ago when it was available for $80. At the peak, it went over $1,400, and even though there's been a big pullback, they're still trading at $3,600, which is over a 40x presently. Now, I'm not buying more Todd McFarlanes now. The price action is much too high. I look for low price gems, and though I believe it will do much better in the future, I want a low price to start with. Does that make sense? In order to sell high, it really helps if you buy low. I'll show you two that I like, and they're in the comics section. And one I do like is this one. This is Marvel Comic #1. And so we'll jump in this really quick. Now, the common, they start at $178. Now, there was a time when these were first released about 9 months ago. They were going for about $4. The common versions, even though on the drop they were $7. A lot of people were dumping their commons. So if you think about it, if you picked one up for $3, you made about almost a 60x from that price. Now, is this still a good price? This is Marvel Comic #1. So probably still a good price. It is one that I have a bunch of, or I would probably be picking up more. So what I'm looking for is one that recently released, and it's in kind of this strange zone where people aren't picking up a whole bunch of them because the market's generally down. And when the market is down, here we go. Strange Tales. There we go. This is the one. Now, there's common and there's secret rare. Let's take a look at the common. So the common start at 1840 as the lowest price one. And you look at this, like higher edition numbers usually don't go for quite as high as a low edition number. The lower edition ones are seen as more desirable. So for a little bit of a discount or a little bit of an increased price, 60 cents more, you can buy edition number 15,889. Seems to me like a good trade-off there. So I'm going to buy that one. Now, I have a ton of these, and I'm still buying more. Why? Because I believe that this one will do really well as a first appearance of Doctor Strange. Now, Dee and I were talking about before this. He asked me if I knew who Doctor Strange was prior to the movies coming out, and I didn't at all. I've never been a big comic book reader, though I've always been interested in like X-Men and some of the heroes. I just never collected comic books. But the movie really, they did such a good job that they really made Doctor Strange important. Now, for those that followed comic books already, Doctor Strange always was a big hero. And this comic book was considered a grail by those who collected comics. In fact, they haven't had a 9.8 grade one of these sell in recorded history or recently recorded history where the values have gone up. But it's expected that a 9.8 grade of this comic would be worth $500,000. Now, one of the tricks I use to decide which digital comics to pursue is to go after those where the real life comics have done incredibly well. Now, you might have a question about whether it's better to buy a whole bunch of commons or buy the secret rare. And so let me just find one of these and give you an example. This is the first appearance of Daredevil. And let's see, the common is $40 and the secret rare is $1,600. So you could literally get about 40 of these commons over one secret rare. As far as ROI, I think the commons have performed better by holding multiples of those. And what I like about holding multiples versus, say, one secret rare is you're able to take profits easier because you can't sell off half your comic book if you bought the secret rare. You can sell off half the commons in order to take profits, but explore further upside if it keeps going up. Does that make sense? Now, obviously, the secret rares are a bigger flex if that's what you're interested in. I wanted to take a look at, so they do have more than just the comic books. And watch my other videos on VV. I've covered them a lot. In fact, we frequently record with Doctor of Stuff on Wednesday evenings on a live stream, and we cover specifically VV. So you've probably seen our content there. But if you haven't, take a look at that. So we're going back to market. I'm looking specifically. Sometimes it's hard to find the collectibles you're looking for. So the easiest way I do is go for trending brands, see all, and then I'm looking for these Disney ones, not the Disney Golden Moments, not the Mickey and Friends, but I want to highlight one Dee and I were talking about that we both like as far as the price now versus what we think the price will be in the future. And I'm not seeing it, D. So if you see,
I think you can on the right there. I think you can find it in the Mickey Mouse NFT collection.
Oh yeah, right there.
Yeah.
Perfect. So the one that, my opinion, is undervalued is this one. Now, I think this one is also underpriced, but look at this price tag. It's a lot higher. This is the animated version of Altogether Now, or Steamboat Willie, which was the first cartoon ever done. So this is literally a 3D rendering of the first cartoon ever done. Obviously, it's not exactly the same as the cartoon, but and this is the ultra rare version. They also have an uncommon and a common. The ultra rare has the most animation behind it. You can get the commons, and the commons are just $140. So you can get about 10 commons or an ultra rare. This is the one that's probably underpriced because it came out later and there hasn't been a massive pump since it came out. And this is the finale where you have the conductor, Mickey Mouse, conducting, and it is animated with music. D, you also like this one. What did you like? What are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah.
And why you think within the Disney universe, this one will do exceptionally well?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's obviously it is a Mickey Mouse NFT, which, you know, in and of itself, it should be valuable over time. We were talking to, I'm trying to remember who it was, but someone was talking about like the popularity of Mickey Mouse in Asia, and Vivi has not, it doesn't have like market locality yet. They're trying to roll that out where the app will be in the language, like it'll be in Japanese, it'll be in Chinese, and in some countries all of these collectibles are not available yet. And so but I've heard, you know, people say essentially that Mickey Mouse is like a religion in Asia, in some parts of Asia, and so even though you know, the desirable ones are going to be the partner statue with Walt and Mickey, as well as the Steamboat Willie. I think that having Mickey Mouse, period, right, having something where you have that is going to be desirable, and it'll be a little bit better price point entry where people are going to get priced out of the more expensive ones.
Yeah, as an investor, when you're looking to make, say, a million or millions in collectibles, what you're most concerned about is return on investment. So I agree with you. The Disney partner statue has got a golden moment of Walt Disney and Mickey holding hands. That one will do incredibly well, but it's also very expensive already. So if you got it on the drop and you were lucky enough to get on the drop, and I wasn't, it was only $400. It went to its high point of like 50,000, I believe, and it's since pulled back. I mean, we can check it out real quick. Going to see all golden moments, and we'll show you exactly which one we're talking about. So this is the partner statue, and it's just $10,000 now. So if you did get this on the drop, and I know some of our audience did. In fact, one of our audience members got mint number 42 of this. That's probably worth over 100,000 right now. But the floor on this is about $10,000, and that would get you edition number 2825. And so where could this go? Well, it could go to like $1 million in just one thing, but likely because the price tag is so high, the return on investment won't be as high as something that's perhaps more undervalued at present versus the future. Once something's already such a high price, it's hard to get those higher multiples of going 40 or 50x. So if, you know, I was spending $10,000 on gems in order to buy some collectibles, rather than buying one of those, I would buy multiples of what I felt was more undervalued, because the goal is a higher return on investment, right? So that's enough said today about the Vivi app. I'm a huge fan of this. I think the co-founders of Ecomi, which is what has built the Vivi app, I think they continue to deliver amazing things, and I'm really impressed by them. They're also working on what they call the Viviverse, which is the Vivi multiverse, or I keep saying multiverse, but it's metaverse, and really cool. Look forward to learning more about that. Let's jump over to another project that unfortunately you can't buy right now. So if you missed my coverage on the DC Bat Cows, the sale is closed. There will be a resale market for these opening in a month or two. And I believe only a little over 12K of these sold out. Now, one of the concerns when they were releasing these is that they had up to 200,000 they were going to mint. But however many sold was the number of bat cows that there were going to be. Now, the market was doing terrible at the time, and so it wasn't during a major NFT hype. It was during a major pullback where a lot of people were pulling money out of the markets rather than putting them in. So only 12,000 of these sold. So there will only be a supply of that number. However, despite that, DC seems very invested in their partnership with Palm NFT Studios and making some massive value happen for those bat cow holders. So these are ones to watch. And if you didn't get one, you can get them on the resale market when they open up. We will be having Matt Mason of Palm Studios. Let me show you him here on Twitter. And he will be joining us for an AMA in the coming days. So I really look forward to that interview. He is leading Palm Studios as their chief content officer. And so hopefully we can get you some great alpha. To my awareness, he's only done one video AMA so far. So it'll be great to have him on. All right. I'd be remiss if I didn't bring up another NFT project. And I know it's not Marvel and it's not Disney. It's on the other side of the spectrum of professional sports. Now, I personally don't follow American football hardly at all. I did watch the last Super Bowl because I heard there was going to be a lot of crypto ads. So I watched the Super Bowl and it was a lot of fun. But I haven't followed football much at all since the San Francisco 49ers were amazing with a wide receiver named Jerry Rice and Joe Montana and then Steve Young were their quarterbacks. So that was 20, 25 years ago, back when I was collecting football cards. And so I'm really interested in this because this is the first series of an NFL endorsed NFT collection. Now, this is done by the same people that did the Flow blockchain. They also did NBA Top Shots, and they're also doing UFC Strike. So UFC Strike is also interesting to me. NBA Top Shots, I invested in. It was a year and a half ago that they released. And I remember this time in season 1 with NBA Top Shots, I invested about $1,100 at the peak of the climb that it went, or at the bottom of the market when it was right about this time and cards were still like coming out and most of them had been released. And I picked up a bunch. I bought LeBron James because he was one of the basketball players I could identify. I bought some packs and went through the hoops to get some packs because you still had to kind of wait in line and you had to like be there right at the moment to try to buy as many as you could. Now, that $1,100 I spent at the peak that happened about 6 months later when NFTs came into focus went to about $185,000 from $1,100. Yes, now they've since pulled back, and I'll show you. I mean, you can actually even follow my NBA Top Shots account. If you go to this thing called momentranks.com, and then you search for the username John Rain, it'll show you John Rain right here. And show you the collectibles I have. I don't believe I've sold any of them. And right now, the value is way down to $23,000, which is still like 20x. So I haven't taken profits on these yet. If I had to do all over again, I would have taken some profits then. But I do think there's a higher future value than what we've seen so far, which is why I decided to hold, even though I knew the prices went pretty crazy back then. Now, they've scaled back. Now, am I buying these? No, because they're still 20x from what they were, right? I like to buy cheap. That's how you make money in collectibles. So what am I looking for? Well, I'm looking at the marketplace on NFL all day. And specifically, I did buy some packs of this. I found out, really the packs, in my opinion, weren't worth it unless you got a really lucky pack. So then I just started picking up collectibles themselves. And one of the big ones I've been liking is Patrick Mahomes. And I bought multiples of his. Now, unfortunately for us, it's his rare. That's his all-day debut. And so it's like $1,400, which is up there if you're new to this. But look at these commons, $41 and $52, because even the commons do incredibly well. And you could get a whole lot of these for that price. You could get, 30 of these for one of these, or actually more than 30 of these for one of these. And so I've been picking up a lot of these ones. I do have, I believe, one or two of these. And I don't know that I have any of these. But another player that I've been looking at is Matthew Stafford. Now, this team won the Super Bowl. Just because you won it one year doesn't mean you'll win it the next year. But of theirs, I like this cheapest one, this common at $13, and his all-day debut card, which usually has a higher premium because that tends to do better. I did buy some of these, the one that has this. Now you see this little badge, that means this was a championship year or a year that they won the Super Bowl. So good pickups. You can even buy a rare at $98, and there's only 1,200 of these. And so I really like this one. The goal was to talk about NFT collections that can make you millions of dollars in the coming years. And these are some of the top ones on my mind. Now, I know that there's other NFT collections like Bored Ape Yacht Club, and you would have made millions of dollars if you had bought even $1,000 or $2,000 worth of it at the launch. But if you go and you pay one, even though the prices have pulled back, if you go and pay like 100 ETH right now for a Bored Ape, that's $200,000. And sure, it can then go up to $1 million, but I think your return on investment, my guess is the return on investment is going to be higher with these. That's why I'm focusing all my time on these, not just in this coverage, but in my own investment. I appreciate you joining us on this journey today. It's been a longer video than normal. I tend to put out videos on NFTs as well as altcoins that I think have a high potential to do really well. I'm an investor myself. I like my money making money for me. And whether it's altcoin projects or NFT collectibles that I think will do well, to me, it's about return on investment and turning little bits of money into a lot more money. Now, if you're ready to be a rainmaker and join what I call the Navy SEALs of crypto, in order to level up your crypto game, join us. It's as simple as liking this video, subscribing with that all notification bell enabled, as well as follow us on Twitter. Remember, it's Crypto Rain with 2 N's. Those that don't, I suspect, will look back 5 years from now and really wish they had joined us. Remember, no rain, no gain.
To the space, chasing all of the gains, chasing the pumps and all of the hype trains. But like in life, right before you could, it was told to buy when it was pouring like a rain, making